All right. SMU looks to keep hopes alive to qualify for the ACC championship game, and Louisville is looking to spoil the party on Senior Day.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to this Locked On Crossover edition here on a Thursday. Locked On SMU and Locked On Louisville as we get you ready for SMU and Louisville on Saturday morning. I'm Grayson Singleton from Locked On SMU. Dalton Pence joining us from Locked On Louisville. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing okay considering the circumstances with the football team. Basketball has kind of picked up the vibes, but excited to collab with Locked On SMU for the first time.
Yeah, man, let's do it. By the way, our episode today is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers will get $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head on over to FanDuel and start playing your game with them. Download the app today. We are the number one sports podcast network that is out there. And man, I just want to start with this, with these SMU Louisville storylines. I led off my show on Monday talking about how with Louisville's rushing attack and SMU's run defense, this is going to be a matchup of strength on strength. And do you think that's where Louisville's foundation is? Their offense is predicated on this running attack, which I got to say, man, I've been pretty impressed with the two-headed backfield that y'all have.
Yeah, I would caution those SMU fans listening to not really put too much stock into the numbers at the moment. I think heading into this week, the Cardinals are 70th in the country in rushing, and a lot of that was because early on in the season, offensive line was struggling to create any holes. Isaac Brown and Duke Watson were both hurt. Kewan Brown was banged up, so they had to throw the ball a ton. And the rushing attack has revitalized itself over the past couple of weeks. Isaac Brown, of course, is hurt. I would be very, very shocked if he's playing in this game. I don't know if the news has come out yet, but I don't think Isaac Brown is going to be available at all. So, yeah, I mean, if Louisville's going to have success against this SMU defense, it has to come with running the football because the passing attack has been a big issue for the Cardinals this season.
Yeah, man, what happened with Miller Moss? It kind of looked like it was a dude coming over from USC. He looked like he had some good football to play, and then he just hasn't been that dude this year.
Yeah, I mean, it just hasn't worked out. I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to. And you can point the finger at a bunch of different things. I mean, the offensive line hasn't been great. It's improved over the past couple of weeks. I think coaching has been an issue here and there. I mean, you look at Louisville's losses. They've got 3 losses, and they're by like a combined less than 10 points. So it shows you that they are in these games and just struggling to do the little things well. But I think with Miller Moss, I don't really know, man. You thought that him being in this Braum offense with a consistent rushing attack in the ACC, that he was going to be able to improve based upon his time at USC. But maybe he just sort of is who he is. You know, Lincoln Riley wasn't able to get the best out of him. Obviously, it seems like Jeff Braum hasn't either. I think the main problem, Grayson, is that he doesn't do a great job of going through his reads. He kind of locks on to his guy pre-snap, and he knows who he's going to throw the football to, and when it's not there, he panics. When the pocket breaks down, he panics, and when he panics, he either takes unnecessary sacks, he's not as accurate as he should be, or he just puts the ball in harm's way. So it's not all on him, let's be clear, but a good amount of blame is on the quarterback play. And I think that, you know, Grayson, with this SMU team,
yeah,
I've been a huge believer of Rhett Lashlee's system. I was a huge fan of him before he even came to SMU. All last year, I was hyping SMU up as that dark horse in the ACC. They ended up going to the conference championship game. And even though the playoffs didn't turn out the way that they had hoped, I still had some high hopes coming into this season. But man, it feels like every time I start to believe in the Pony Bros, it's like they show me why I shouldn't, but kind of I haven't really paid it too much attention this year as much as you have. Yeah. What's the season looked like for Kevin Jennings thus far?
Okay. So that question took a turn. in a way that
It
I did not
did.
expect.
Yeah, my apologies.
Yeah, so I thought you were. No, you're good. And I thought you were going to take it through the season as a whole, which
you could probably do both in time, both together if you'd like.
Yes, no, you could. And the season as a whole has been interesting because you lost both of your non-con Power 4 games to Baylor and TCU, and then you have seen to rectify the situation, and then you go lay a dud against Wake Forest and lose that game. Oh, but you beat Miami. So I think it's one of those situations where you kind of look at it from a team perspective and you're like, well, is this Louisville team kind of maybe not a trap game, but is this a game where we could lose? And my answer to that whole entire situation would be possibly. I mean, SMU, I think, should be favored to win the game, but would I be shocked if Louisville came in and won the game? Absolutely not. Now, as it pertains to Kevin Jennings, he's been banged up. I mean, his ankle has been just not well ever since the Baylor game, which was the second game of the season. He's gutted it out. He's been a warrior the entire time, hasn't missed a game, has rarely missed snaps. And even through all of that, statistically, he's been the best quarterback in the ACC. The problem is there's been a lot of injuries around him. The offensive line has been banged up. Even with guys playing, they've been banged up. And then even this week with the defensive line, you're in kind of a game time decision situation with arguably your best pass rusher in Cam Robertson, who also is very good against the run, which kind of ties into that whole thing with Louisville being a really good run team. So I do think even though the records and the overall feel of the different fan bases are a little bit off, these two teams are pretty similarly matched in ways that I do think this is going to end up being a one possession game, maybe a 3-point game. And to your point about Miller Moss and being dumped by Lincoln Riley, I do think that's going to start a trend of if you're a quarterback and you get dumped by Lincoln Riley, that'll raise a lot of red flags because this is a dude who makes it work with everybody. And Jaden Maeva, I'm telling you, like he moved right off for Miller Moss, found another guy, and that dude is balling.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that the Miller Moss experience for USC, I thought he sort of took the fall for some of the issues of the USC team, but I guess I had discounted how much of a factor he played in why things were offensively the way they were. And it just is what it is. And that's why we had an episode on Tuesday talking about why, even though they might not, the Louisville Cardinals should be going to their redshirt freshman backup quarterback in this game. Don't think they will, at least not to start, but it seems like you have to do whatever you can to get a spark, man. And it's kind of, just a free fall at the moment for this team that had such high expectations heading into November. Now it's like, guys, we just got to end the season on a good note. It's a complete fall from grace.
Do you really think that the team is kind of in a free fall, in that mode of where some people have maybe packed it up a little bit and there's just so much disappointment that they couldn't, muster a win or two in their last couple of games? Do you really think that's where the team is at now?
I don't know about the team. I know that the fan base is right there. And the Louisville fan base, we've been through pain. You've seen those memes like, can you stop giving me your greatest battles? And then God's like, why are you still alive? And it feels like that's the Louisville fan base experience. Yeah. But overall, it's just sometimes it's not the fact that Louisville's losing, it's how they're losing. And you outgained Virginia by 160 yards. You outgained Clemson by 80 yards. You had the opportunities to win that game against California. It's the fact that, the Brom experience is going well, but look how much better it could be going if you just handle business in these 50-50 games more so than not. So, I think that you have to prevent the free fall. The SMU game is sort of just the appetizer. I mean, you want to win this game, but everyone's looking ahead to next week as well when Louisville plays Kentucky. If the Cardinals lose that game, Card Nation is going to be very toxic. Let's put it that way.
Well, it may be very toxic, but you're stuck with the coach that you extended.
He's not extended yet.
Oh, that's true.
They're working on it.
They're working on it.
Yeah. So, and it's one of those things you can't see the forest for the trees type moment. I mean, he's doing a great job. He's won 9+ games the past 2 seasons. He has a chance to do it this year. I think that has afforded him a season to where it's like, okay, things didn't go maybe the way you planned it, but Now you've got an opportunity in the offseason, NIL, transfer portal era. There's never been an easier time to turn things around. So we'll see how that goes. But I kind of want to flip the questions over to you and tell or give you the opportunity to tell Louisville fans a little bit about the SMU Mustangs.
Yeah, and we're running out of time in this segment, so I'll be quick with this, and then we'll continue it in our next segment about where SMU stands. But running game is pretty good. Here's where I'm very interested with this matchup. I do think SMU's system that Rhett Lashlee likes to run with his quick game, with his RPO, get it out of the quarterback's hands, right, that SMU has ran very, very well over the course of the entirety of the season. They've ran it very well, and Kevin Jennings has been the best quarterback in the ACC because of it. It's interesting how it matches up against Louisville's defense, because when I rewatch that Clemson game, I see a lot of off coverage. I see a lot of soft zone. And if you get the ball to these playmakers real quick, maybe get a blocker or two out in front, I think this is a game where schematically SMU can look at this and say, oh, we might have something here, because Louisville lets a lot of guys run untouched over the middle. They don't jam at the line of scrimmage. So if you give this team that is rife with playmakers like SMU is, free releases off the line of scrimmage, easy touches, I think it's a game where SMU could be in rhythm early offensively.
I don't disagree there, and I'd like to, whenever we come back from break, ask you some more questions, because there's something about this SMU team that it seems like they're worse than Louisville at, and I'm like, how is this even possible? And I'll introduce that question when we come back.
Hey, let's do it. Locked On crossover with myself. I'm Grayson Singleton from Locked On SMU. Dalton Pence from Locked On Louisville. Coming right back after this break. This episode today is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything, from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live game bets into a same game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push, and it's something I just like to do when I go to games. So, something that just adds another layer of excitement for me. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Locked On SMU, Locked On Louisville on a college crossover on the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network that is available. I'm Grayson Singleton. Dalton Pence is here with me. And Dalton, you had a couple questions about this SMU team that intrigued you the most. Floor is yours, homie.
So, look, one thing that really frustrates me about the Cardinals is that, and I guess they've gotten better by the numbers you wouldn't be able to tell. They're 117th in the country in penalty yardage. When I looked at the overall numbers and saw SMU at 134 in the country, and I'm like, hold on, aren't there only like 136 teams that actually get ranked in these rankings? Like, what is it sort of one thing's like, hey, don't look too much into this? Or is there like a recurring issue that SMU, like Louisville, sort of lacks that discipline when it comes to either holdings or DPIs, unnecessary conduct, you name it?
Mm-hmm. SMU was the most penalized team in the country last year. And by those numbers, they have not gotten much better this year. Now, I will say this. They are trending in a positive direction. They weren't heavily penalized in the Boston College game 2 weeks ago. Keep in mind, you were playing Boston College. And they also weren't heavily penalized against Miami the week before that. So they're starting to get better, but the penalties have been a problem all season long. The undisciplined nature of this team has still persisted. You had an issue at the beginning of the year. This will underscore it the most, Dalton. You had an issue this year where in each of the first 3 games, Romello Brinson scored touchdowns. And on those touchdowns, Romello Brinson was fined for unsportsmanlike conduct on every single one of them, multiple games on end to start the season. So yeah, you seem like this is like back. You seem like y'all have had a similar situation too.
I unfortunately know that song all too well.
But no, that's been the thing. It's gotten better though, but they have still been one of the most heavily penalized teams in the country. Yes.
It also seems like this is a team by the numbers that forces those turnovers. Is it more so? I haven't looked at the splits. Is it more so interceptions and pass coverage, or are they just hard hitting to the football to where they force more fumbles? I haven't been able to look at the differentiation between the two.
Mostly interceptions. They're very good at it, and they're very good at. And they're very good. Oh, it should. Oh, it should. It should.
Now.
Which I'm gonna expound upon that in just a second. But Ahmad Moses, one of the best in the country at taking the football away, 5 interceptions. He's one of 6 defensive players on the semifinal list for the Walter Camp Award. He's been a stud. SMU does lead the entire nation in turnovers with 26 takeaways on the season. So they're getting it done with interceptions. They're getting it done with fumbles too. And that was an issue that plagued them last year. They were one of 2 teams that got into the CFP last year with a negative turnover differential. Georgia was the other. This year, they have completely flipped that on their head. I believe it's like a plus 11, somewhere in that range right now, or maybe a little bit better. But in terms of taking the football away, if you give them a chance to do so, they absolutely will. Which is interesting because Miller Moss is a dude we thought coming into the season would be a bad matchup for SMU because SMU's corners have been a problem this year. Except Miller Moss has done a pretty good job of throwing it to the other team this year. So the fact that he's a one-read guy, a one-read then panic type of dude, kind of negates SMU's weakness which is their corners.
Yeah, that's the tough thing is that I also think that, SMU is going to try to contain Louisville because the Cardinals don't really take the top off the defense. Last Friday night when the Cardinals played Clemson, they played a defense that was averaging 10 plays in which they gave up 10-plus passing yards through the air. Louisville threw the ball 4 times beyond the sticks, like 4 times past 10 yards. You heard me right. Like Miller Moss threw the ball 10 yards through the air 4 times. It's an offense that, it's very much dink and dunk down the field, and you're praying that as good as Chris Bell is, he can make some magic happen. You're praying that Caullen Lacey can do the same, but you're really praying that rushing attack sets the tone because that's what's going to be the key.
And you would think, by the way, that they would do more of it because of how good the running attack is. You got 2 dudes who have averaged over 7 yards a carry. So maybe you go some play action and threaten the intermediate, play action and threaten to take the top off the defense. Like, is Miller Moss just not throwing it down the field and not seeing it open? Or is the offense just schemed up to the point where, hey, we're just not going to do this?
Yeah, Jeff Brom is notorious for scheming his offense around his quarterback. Last year with Tyler Shuck and Ja'Cory Brooks, they loved to throw that go route. He threw it all the time. You knew it was coming and you really couldn't stop it because Brooks was that dude. And Shuck, you're seeing, despite him being 24, 25, it was the injuries. It wasn't the talent thing. They're really talented. So I think it's probably more so column A than column B. It's probably a mixture of the two. So I will ask you this, and we can talk a little bit more about Louisville in the next segment. But with this SMU team, you look at what's happened in their losses. Like, let's go back to the Wake Forest game. Let's go back to the non-conference games that you lost. What have been the main culprits as to why, when SMU loses, what goes wrong?
It's not the same thing every time. I'm going to be completely honest with you. So the Baylor game, the offense did its thing. It was a high-scoring game. They were up by 13 points late in that game. Now, special teams failed them, number one. Colin Rogers failed them, and he, by the way, is no longer on the team, which is a curious turn of events because he was a preseason all-ACC kicker and just completely cratered at the beginning of the year, lost the job, is no longer with the team. The TCU game, kind of a mixture. The offense they scored a decent amount, but then the defense, especially the corners and the secondary, still wasn't fully functional, and Josh Hoover took advantage of that. The Wake Forest game was interesting because that was a game where the defense in totality balled out and the offense looked awful. it was Rhett Lashlee's worst day as a play caller, is what I said on the following Monday. It was his worst day as a play caller. The offense looked abysmal. So you come from the first 2 losses where the offense does its thing, but the defense let them down at the end of it. But then in the Wake Forest game, it was the offense that didn't hold up its end of the bargain, and the defense just eventually couldn't keep Wake Forest from scoring 13 points.
I think that's kind of the frustrating aspect of it, is like trying to put a complete performance on the field, and you can see when it does click, it's awesome to see. But the issue is that for the Louisville Cardinals, it rarely ever does click. So we can go ahead and go to break. That's the last of my questions. And when we come back, I will try to do my best to give your everydayers a glimpse into what is going right and, more importantly, what's going wrong for Louisville in the month of November.
Coming up next. Final segment as we wrap up this Locked On crossover edition between Locked On SMU and Locked On Louisville. And like Dalton just mentioned, appreciate all the everydayers from both sites that tune into us every day. Hope you guys have enjoyed this crossover episode as we lead you in to the matchup between the Mustangs and the Cardinals. And Dalton, obviously the top question of everybody's mind is Miller Moss. We've addressed that, I think enough. But I do want to start with this. That defensive line looks pretty big, man. Like, talk to me about the Louisville defense, because SMU has made a lot of hay on offense. They like to throw it around. They can run it decently enough depending on the spot. Where is Louisville's strength defensively?
Yeah, man, I think you said it. It's in the trenches. And when the Cardinals are imposing their will on opposing offenses, it's because they are winning in the trenches. And that's where I kind of wonder about this game. We know who Rhett Lashlee is. We know the offense he tries to run, which is throwing the ball out quickly, which, by the way, is what Boston College did. It's what Virginia Tech did. It is what California, Clemson. You see a trend, like teams are trying to neutralize the Cardinals' front four because those guys get home. Leading up to that Miami, or right after the Miami game, you look at the numbers. Louisville's one of the most pressured teams, or one of the teams that generates the most pressures in the country. You got Clev Lubin, Wesley Bailey leading the pack to transfer portal edge rushers. Clev, one of the best edge rushers in the ACC. And you have a solid linebacking core as well, who just got Stanquan Clark back, arguably their most talented defender. He made his reappearance against Clemson after breaking his ankle week 2 against JMU. So your front seven is where the strengths lie. I think that the issue with this game is how SMU plays. I mean, these other teams that went hurry up, or not really hurry up, but they got the ball out quickly to guys out wide. We kind of imagined that they were going to do that, but SMU's going to do that. So how does Ron English, the Cardinals defensive coordinator, how does he sort of counteract that now? Does he deploy his DBs closer to the line of scrimmage? Is he playing more man? Because the DBs have shown the ability to tackle out in the open field, but I think they haven't really been positioned well to do that when you're playing 10 yards off ball and there's a ball screen thrown out into the flat. So the strength lies in the defensive line. It's a solid unit. I think it's just going to be a matter of, unlike last year, does Ron English sort of have an answer for Rhett Lashlee?
That was my question is, when you're looking at it on film, you see that Rhett Lashlee loves his quick game. He just does. And it gives his quarterback a chance to settle in. And it also sort of breaks down the defensive front because you're trying to go upfield. Oops, it's already out. So now all of a sudden you're running up and then running back. And then you can use that to set up your run game. So has Louisville even shown the willingness to bring those corners up a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage? Or is this just going to be a thing where Ron English is just stubborn and sticks to what he does and allows SMU to beat them the way that SMU wants to beat teams?
If this is 2024, I think it's the latter, but he has done a complete 180 this year to where the Cardinals defense is the main reason why this team is 7-3. And last year was the Achilles heel. And I think that it's because of his ability to adjust with his coverages. But something that's kind of hurt the Cardinals is the offense in the first half. I'm sorry, the defense in the first half. The offense has been a problem in the first half too, but the defense in the first half, sometimes it kind of takes a while for Louisville's defense to get off the field. But you wouldn't be able to tell that by the numbers because they bend but don't break very well, right? Like they might allow you to go down the field, but most of the times they're keeping you out of the end zone, and it's proven by the numbers. So this one's kind of the one that I've had circled for a while because English did not have a great game plan last year. It seemed like the team just didn't know that this offense liked to go up tempo, but I would imagine that he has a good idea this year. So if Louisville has success against SMU on Saturday, I think it's going to be led by the defensive performance.
Another thing that I talked about with my everydayers this week is if you can find a way to take away the run, which SMU is very good at, if you can find a way to take away the run and put the onus of winning the football game squarely on the shoulders of Miller Moss. Make him one-dimensional. Miller Moss, you got two receivers, Chris Bell and Caullen Lacey, that are more than capable. But can Miller Moss beat you? And I think that's an advantageous spot to be in for SMU. To that you say what?
I mean, I don't think that you're wrong. I know that I have been criticizing a ton. Grayson, let me tell you, I was probably the loudest advocate for Miller in the offseason. And even early on in the season, because like I mentioned, I believed that maybe a change of scenery would do him well. Now it hasn't, and for a couple of different reasons, but even early on, I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. So let me preface all this by saying that it hasn't all been bad. Like you watched the Miami game, he had some good moments, and if Louisville's going to try to find that magic again, they got to kind of have to go back to that Miami game. A lot of crossing routes. You got to get the ball to Chris Bell and Caullen Lacey out in space. I think Miller has it in him to succeed. We've seen it. He's shown it. It's the consistency aspect. It's that when things start to unravel, you have to stay composed as a veteran quarterback. And if he can do that, if he can have that short-term memory loss to where it's like, okay, bad play, scrap it, let's go back at it. It's when he allows it to kind of build up. So I have no clue what to expect. Let me just be completely honest with you. I think that it could go really well because when he is on, he's really good. The issue is you just don't know. So, yeah. But like you said, if Louisville's rushing attack gets bottled up, I'm going to worry a ton because I haven't seen Louisville be able to win games recently. You go back to Pittsburgh. They did win that Pittsburgh game by throwing it, but recently I haven't seen them be able to win the game or win games by throwing the football.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And I do think, and look, I thought Miller Moss was scapegoated at USC.
Same.
But it's kind of worked out to be the fact that he might have been the problem because USC is 15th in the country right now. And, if they beat Oregon this weekend, could be in the college football playoff field. So it seems like Lincoln made the right decision on this one. Hey, man, we only got a couple minutes left here. Score prediction. And how do you think this game is going to go down on Saturday?
I could see either team winning. I'm going to make a score prediction, but I see strengths for both teams. I think that there is a real possibility that Louisville's defense learns from last year, and they are leading the Cardinals in this game. I think regardless, it's going to be close. I think that these teams are very similar, like you mentioned earlier. I'm going SMU in this one just because the way Louisville's trending, I have to see it to believe it. With Louisville turning it around, I think they have the potential, but I'm not sure that they're going to. I'm going to go SMU 28, Louisville 24 in this one.
I'm going to go along the same lines. I think sometimes SMU has problems scoring in the red zone, so I think there's going to be a little bit more field goals, but I think 27-21 somehow is going to end up being the final score. I got SMU on top as well. Hey, well, man, this one's been fun, man. Appreciate that we got to do this. And yeah, I mean, man, good luck to y'all this weekend, and good luck to you with your show. This has been a lot of fun.
You as well. Appreciate you reaching out, and nice to collab for the very first time. Definitely won't be the last.
Hey, man, let's do it. Let's do it again next year. All right, that's Dalton Pence from Locked On Louisville. I'm Grayson Singleton from Locked On SMU. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. For your second listen, make sure you check out our conference show, Locked On ACC, on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. hosted by Alex Dono and Kenton Gibbs, as they take you through all the storylines of the ACC. Hey, man, maybe we'll do a collab when these two meet up for basketball season.
That's more like it. Now you're talking my language.
There we go. Like, just so I know you're a basketball guy. I was a basketball player too, man. So hopefully we'll be talking again soon.
Heck yeah.
All right, brother. All right, we'll see y'all. All right, take it easy. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.